The Plank, presented by Ram, continues on ABC Action News Now.
Welcome back to The Plank. John Sable alongside Tom Corn. Our season finale. Lovie Smith just finished up wrapping up his final press conference of the season before heading into the offseason. We're going to get into that in just a little moment here. It's that time of the show. We're going to hit up our Ace social stream, just a little fun little segment we do here every week, talking about what fans and people are having a little fun with, maybe a Bucs win or loss. And in case you ever wondered what Jameis Winston would look like as a Simpsons character, TK, this is pretty much it. You got to like the little joke there with the crab legs, of course. The show poked fun at Winston's crab leg fiasco last night. That aired, and it's funny enough. And if people don't know much about The Simpsons, they put a lot of real athletes in there, and they make them into the show. They're really funny, actually.
Well, I think, I've always been an advocate of the fact is you can say whatever you want about me, just spell my name right. That's hey, it's free publicity.
Exactly. Right? Well, TK, what did you take from Lovie Smith?
Well, I wrote down this one quote. There were a lot of things that he said, but this one quote will very much tell you exactly where this football team is. A lot of different ways to improve this team. So if he tells me that there are a lot of different ways to improve this team, there are a lot of open holes to have to fill.
A lot of them, yeah.
All right. So this is not just one guy here, one guy there, a couple corners here. There's depth issues on this football team. There's a number of things. Offensively, I'll tell you right now, I don't like any of the running backs. All right, I don't like the running backs.
No Doug Martin.
They need a receiver. They need another receiver because we don't know how long Vincent's going to play. It's quite obvious that Mike Evans hasn't grown up yet. They have nobody behind that. All right, so they've got to get themselves, and they got to get themselves a bona fide receiver. And of all the things that I look for in this draft, if it fills the need, and it is the best player on the board, a wide receiver is what I would take in number 9 in the draft, if they're going to have that.
So you're going to go, okay, we'll get into maybe the draft in just a moment here, but I'm surprised you would take a wide receiver 9.
They need
maybe
it.
Not defense, something like a pass rush or corner or anything?
Well, all right, a pass rusher, number one, it's very difficult to be able, a pass rusher is not somebody you could be almost guaranteed of making it and being an impact player immediately.
Well, a receiver isn't either.
But I think I'd find it a little bit easier as a receiver. I've look at a couple of guys they got out there right now.
Yeah,
over high draft picks.
I agree, but I think too when you look at this team, the receiver position needs to be addressed. I don't know if
does.
I don't know if you go that early.
Well,
maybe.
See, I look at this team differently than a lot of people do. They're going to say we need pass rushers. Absolutely. Kwan, we said it when he was gone. His Kwan factor, and Lovie alluded to it, killed that defense.
Yeah.
They needed to have that guy because he made up for iniquities. They got iniquities in their secondary, their corners, their safeties. All right, but that doesn't mean that they're all bad players.
No.
Some of these players don't know how to play that defense, and Lovie can't keep putting square pegs in round holes. He's got to find the right match, or he's got to adapt his defense to the type of talent that he's got. And I think he's going to maybe do one of both because you can't find that many players out there in one given off season to be able to make it up in 1 year.
We have a telephone call here. Jim from Newport Richie. Jim, what's your reaction to what you just heard from Lovie Smith, and what would you like the Buccaneers to address in the draft coming up here in the spring?
Well, I think, Lovie was just kind of telling everybody what they wanted to hear. No, we weren't as good as we thought we could be, and, we're still a work in progress. And, that's all. He just told everybody, in my opinion, he told everybody what they wanted to hear. You don't want to sit there and say, we stunk or, we were bad or anything. No, so you kind of take all that with a grain of salt. As far as like the draft coming up, what do you think about, maybe trading that, number 1 pick to get some more 2s and 3s? There are good guys in the 2 and 3 rounds that, maybe we can just get more as opposed to, number 1. What do you think?
The problem with, I would think, trading is that you're at 9. You're not at 1. You're not in the top 5. You're at 9. I don't know if you're going to be able to get that caliber of – you're going to get an impact player at 9, don't get me wrong. But I don't think it's as an attractive piece in order to build more deep in the draft. It's still early. We don't know how – this draft is depth-wise is going to be at some of the positions we've already said. But with that said, I don't know if trading that first-round pick is going to solve anything.
Jim, I think I kind of get an idea where you're trying to go. But I've always been an advocate of this, is that if you got a ninth round pick, if you think you're going to take that ninth round pick to just go get a couple of 2s or get a 3 or extras down there, you never trade a first round pick to get out of that round, period, that high. You just don't do it.
Yeah.
You could trade a 9th for 2 first round picks below it, okay? Because I've shown this before and I did a story on it. There is a percentage of what each particular draft pick is worth. And that's what GMs look at when they decide to make trades, to make sure that they're getting value for value. And I can tell you right now, trading the number 9 overall for a couple of 2s and a 3 is not going to work. It won't work. But I see maybe the more the merrier, and they might be able to give this team an opportunity to be able to come up with maybe better hits, more hits. But I thought they did a fairly decent job this year. They did a pretty good job draft-wise, and we'll see how they do this coming year.
Well, we'll talk more about the draft and maybe even get our Super Bowl picks coming up here and talk more about the Bucs' loss yesterday to the Panthers. The plan continues right after this break.